Can I do the intro? All right. Welcome to Touchdown Nerdcast.
That's legit. That sounded professional.
That was fantastic.
Good content from somebody else that's just kind of shitty. Don't be professional in a not professional way. What are you looking at this weekend?
What?
What are you looking at this weekend?
What do you mean?
I hear there's some football games being played.
Are there? I'm looking for some big games out of my players.
And who are your players?
I am going to need CeeDee Lamb and Chris Olave to have big weeks. I would like for Mike Evans and Jawan Johnson to have big weeks too, to make up for the fact that Travis Kelce screwed me this week.
This is in your other league.
Travis Kelce. Damn you, Travis Kelce.
That was a tough one.
Been drafting Kelce in the first and Cup in the second, Jonathan Taylor in the third.
Why would
Somebody
you do
out there
that?
did. If you did that, call in. We want to hear from you.
If you did that, retire from fantasy football.
I mean, that's a good start to your draft.
Is it?
It's a great start to your draft. So let's start off with a question.
Yeah. Go to
We
it.
had a caller come in and say, essentially it comes down. What's that?
What did they say?
Well, they gave their whole roster of Josh Allen, Dameon Pierce, James Cook, Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Odell Beckham Jr., the Packers D, Maher at kicker, Michael Thomas, Jacoby Myers, Antonio Gibson, Anthony Richardson, Darnell Mooney. Did come up with a starting lineup. Going past the obvious, you're starting Josh Allen, Dameon Pierce, James Cook, Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, your defense, your kicker. Who are you flexing? Are you flexing Odell, Michael Thomas, Antonio Gibson, Darnell Mooney, Zeke Elliott, or Paris Campbell?
I'm probably going Antonio Gibson.
Why is that?
Because game flow is going to, I think, go Washington's way in that game, because I got to imagine they're going to have the lead or at least win that game.
Just because they're playing the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. What do you think?
I just think from a volume perspective, Gibson's the safer option. I'm not saying
Brian Robinson doesn't scare you?
What's that?
You're not worried about Brian Robinson?
No, because I think if the game flow, I think the only way that game, and even if they were to go down in that game, I think Gibson's more the receiving back anyways. So it's like, to me, game flow is going to like benefit his volume regardless, where Brian Robinson might get a better stat line if they are up big and they're just going to give him a lot of carries to kill time.
You're saying the receiving back on the winning team, get the game flow helps them?
I'm just saying that he was the starter last year, so I think either way, like, he's going to split carries with Brian Robinson if they're winning. I think if they're losing, he obviously gets the favor. or edge there, but I don't know. I think Gibson's proven that he's their like trusted guy. Brian Robinson had some flashy like looks last year, but I still think it's Gibson's backfield to lose.
Okay. What do you think, Andy? Pump.
His best option is Darnell Mooney.
Darnell against the Packers, huh?
Yep.
You just got a lot of faith in Justin Fields, or just because you're a hometown boy?
I have a lot of faith in Justin Fields, and I don't trust the Packers secondary beyond Jair Alexander. And so I expect the Bears to win this game because the Packers are starting 0 receivers or tight ends. Maybe Dobbs plays, and he's in his second year. So I just can't believe that Jordan Love is going to have success throwing to all rookies. So I believe the Bears will have plenty of possessions, and I think he'll get his opportunities. And I think Jair Alexander is going to be shutting down DJ Moore all day. So look for Darnell Mooney to catch some balls.
Okay. I should have said it was a full point PPR. I don't know if that changes either of your opinions, but hopefully Darnell can get the volume to be worth it.
I'd be worried about the volume because, like Andy said, I expect the Bears to win that game. It looks like Dobbs is not going to play because I have him on one of my teams and it's leaning that way. I think if that game gets out of hand, it's going to be in the favor of the Bears, and I could see the Bears running for 250 plus yards on the ground between Deontay Foreman, Khalil Herbert, and Justin Fields, and could be a game where, depending on score and game flow, that Fields probably won't have to throw the ball more than 15, 20 times.
Yeah, I mean, it could go either way. To be honest, I want to say Darnell Mooney just because being a Bears fan, but I think my brain's definitely saying Antonio Gibson, like you said, with the game flow. He is a receiving back, so even if he only catches 3 balls for 20 yards, that's half or 5 points right there, plus whatever he does on the ground. Anywho, yeah, I like both.
Yeah, I don't want to
Which
start.
one do you like more?
I don't want to start
I-
Liddell
I-
yet until I see him play.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I am definitely leaning Antonio Gibson just because I always steer away from the Bears because I don't want my emotions to get into it. So I try
I wish
not
you
to
could
draft
read.
any Bears players.
Can you read what that says?
I can see that's Antonio Gibson.
Fantasy Pros has Gibson versus Darnell Mooney, 99% Gibson, 1% Darnell.
All right, I guess we're fantasy pros, except for okay. Cool.
I
What
think
else do we have today?
I think Mooney has the better chance of maybe going big.
Yeah,
I just think his floor is less safe. Like I think if you're talking flex position on a week to week basis, especially first week of the season, I had this conversation with 2 of my softball dads who are doing fantasy football this year, and they were talking about whether to start Kenneth Walker or Alexander Madison. And I kind of was like, well, later in the season, if you're in the playoffs or you're in a must win situation, obviously that changes to, do you take the guy with the higher ceiling with the bigger risk because you need to win? Or are you in a position where you just play the safest floors and just hope that overall you put up more points just because of that? I think early in the season, I'm going with the guys with the safest floors. I mean, if I'm able to get 10 points out of every guy on my roster, I know it's going to give me a pretty good shot to win. Like, I don't think week 1's a time to panic or overthink and go, well, Mooney could give me 20 and Gibson's probably not going to, but the floor is Gibson gets 7 or 8 and Mooney gets 2 or 3. I mean,
Well, now I'm curious. Who do you think has the higher ceiling out of Walker and Madison?
Walker, I think has absolutely the higher upside just because he showed the flashy big games last year, and Madison has not showed anything outside of hoping that the volume base he's going to get with Minnesota this year is gonna. I mean, that's very unsure to me, like uncertain about what he's gonna look like. I could see him being like a 25 carry, 75-yard, no touchdowns and 2 catches type of game, where tons of volume but not a whole lot to show for.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Pump.
Yeah.
What else do we have planned today?
So who would you start? Jerry Judy or Zay Flowers?
I'm going Judy.
Is Judy for sure playing?
Here's that way.
Assuming he
ball.
plays, I'm going Judy.
If you can tell me Judy plays the whole game, I'm taking Judy. It worries me that with a hamstring type injury like that I was the Mike Williams train last year where it was, I'm 100%, 110% feeling great. And then first ball he catches, he re-sprains his ankle and he had 1 catch for 20 yards and got me 3 points. So like, that's my fear with Judy, is if he was to re-aggravate that injury. The worry to me was Zay Flowers. Obviously, he's a rookie. Lamar Jackson, depending on the fact that I think they could kill Houston and it could just become a run game where, again, kind of like what the Bears game could turn into, that could be a game where they run the ball for 200 yards, especially when Houston's defense has showed how terrible they are against the run the last 3 or 4 years. I guess the edge for Zay Flowers becomes, we're going to see which receiver Lamar has most chemistry with and likes the most, because Mark Andrews does not look like he's going to suit up and play. So I think Zay Flowers, Bateman, and Odell, like, you're going to see who Lamar is looking for when he doesn't have his top target in Andrews there, and you'll have a little bit more telling sign going forward with that.
Yeah, so Mark Andrews is trending towards not playing either. Some big names not playing week 1.
Kyle took him out of the lineup, and the note on him said it does not look like he will play tomorrow. So I like Zay Flowers and what his like skill set is. You have no clue what you're gonna get out of him week 1 with Lamar being however Lamar's going to be in that game. I don't like the matchup because of game flow. I think they're going to kill the Texans.
It's going to have a breakout game 1 and just chase down Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, I would like for that game to be competitive, but it's hard for me to believe that game's going to be that competitive. So Zay Flowers, I mean, I think either way you're looking hit or miss kind of on that. It's just roll the dice and go with your gut on that one. What's your gut feeling say on that?
Choose Zay Flowers.
And what's your reasoning behind that?
Starting with Jerry Judy. I feel like if he suits up, it might not be like, it could be a decoy strategy in week 1, even if he plays.
He could be on the snap count.
Yeah, snap count. All for him. Yeah.
That would be my worry with him too. I mean, I don't know what the status on him is. If it's he is like good to go, or it's we're going to try it.
A full participant in practice and be starting in week 2, but week 1's a little wishy-washy.
Yeah.
I've got a couple other flex positions from around the league. Who do we got? All right, how about Cam Akers or Michael Pittman?
Oh, that's tough.
Akers looked real good at the end of
I'm
last
going
year.
Cam Akers as much as I don't like Cam Akers.
Yeah.
I think volume wise, he's going to be better off. And my worry with Pittman is you have zero clue what Richardson's going to look like.
Yeah, at least the running back. You just hand it off to him versus having to throw it down the field to get the ball to him.
Yeah. Well, and when you have no Cooper Kupp, obviously I think they're going to try to lean on Akers, whether it's successful or not. I mean, the volume to me is going to be the volume to Cam Akers and what that offense is going to look like this week. Not saying it's going to be a successful volume. His volume to me is going to be triple the amount of touches Pittman gets.
I agree. Cam Akers all the way. He's the starting back. He doesn't have much competition. They don't have much by way of wide receivers. Nothing on the team scares you. When your best wide receiver is Van Jefferson. I mean, I like Van, but he's not a guy that's going to put fear into the defense.
Yeah.
His game plan is going to
Cam
be
Akers.
run heavy this first week.
Yeah. And I didn't get to weigh in on Zay Flowers, but I want to give my 2 cents. If I could go back for a second.
3 cents.
You know me, Lamar is not a passing quarterback. He's really not. You can say whatever you want about him, but in his 10 games where he was healthy, 11 games when he was healthy last year, he threw for over 300 yards once. And he threw for under 200 yards 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And
He's more likely to
3
bust.
of those 4 of those other games, he threw for under 220 yards.
Yeah.
So he's not like a rookie wide receiver for a quarterback who doesn't air it out that much. I'm going to lead in the way the other side. Anywho.
For fantasy just as often as he puts up big numbers, which is a hard player to start week over week.
If he doesn't do it on the ground, he's not going to do it for you in the air. So
No, he ain't going 350 yards with 3 touchdowns in the air. Like
I'll say this. He had 3 touchdowns or more the first 3 games of the season last year. Never again the rest of the season. They were all 1 touchdown or 0. He had 3 games with 0 touchdowns passing. So, I mean,
That's
I said
Jerry
it before,
Jeudy.
I'm staying away from these wide receivers. No,
Yeah.
that was Lamar.
Right. So start Jerry Jeudy and not Zay Flowers.
Yes, all day if he's healthy.
DeAndre Swift or DeAndre Hopkins?
That is a good one, actually.
2 DeAndres.
Probably going D-Hop. I think I'm going D-Hop myself.
I like it, yeah.
They've got running back depth on the Eagles and a lot of, a running quarterback and a lot of wide receivers that command the ball. So I'm steering clear of those running backs until somebody gets hurt. And I'm going to take the new look Titans.
Some trends emerging already. Stay clear of Kansas City wide receivers right now. Stay clear of Baltimore wide receivers. Stay clear of Philly running backs.
We want to stay clear of all Chiefs players not named Patrick Mahomes and maybe Travis Kelce until the Chiefs decide to fire the greatest coach in Bears history, Matt Nagy, because he's going to be a cancer for that offense.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm with you too. I don't like Philly's running back situation. I think they have 2 talented running backs with Penny and Swift. I don't think Swift has ever put it together. Don't plan on him being a volume type guy like what you would like to see in someone like that. Too many mouths to feed offensively with Jalen Hurts being the number 1 rushing threat, and then you have Dallas Goedert, Devonta Smith, and AJ Brown, like Frank said. I would definitely go D-Hop. I don't like Ryan Tannehill at all, but they are going to be losing in the majority of their games this season, so they're going to have to throw the ball. Um, Hopkins has showed that he can be successful even when he didn't have Kyler Murray. Um, he might not have the flashy big games where he's putting up 10 catches for 160 and a touchdown or 2 touchdowns, but he could easily be the guy that every week is kind of 7 to 8 catches for 60 to 70 yards, which in a full point PPR league, you're getting decent points out of him. I don't think that anyone's expecting to get the old days of 20 plus points out of him like when he was with Houston. But I think he'd be kind of a safe floor guy. It kind of reminds me of what Cortland Sutton did for me last year, where he definitely didn't live up to why I drafted him. But it's hard to, in a full point PPR, be upset when you take a receiver in the 6th round and he gets 12 to 14 points each week just because of 6 catches for 80 yards or 8 catches for 60 yards.
Yeah, I mean, D-Hop's not in his prime anymore. That's for sure. But I'll still take him over the unknown backfield with all the passing weapons. If he's the number 2 wide receiver on the team, and with a subpar quarterback like Tannehill, you can still hope he'll get 6 catches and 70 yards, even if he doesn't get a touchdown. He's still getting you double digits in fantasy, which he's not your starting wide receiver anyways. So you're happy to get 10 points out of a dart throw flex.
Yeah.
I got one for you guys if we're going to compare players for this week. My full point PPR league, who are you flexing? Mike Evans, Brandon Ayuk, or George Pickens?
I think I want to say Pickens just because I'm so big on him this year. Realistically, it'll probably be Mike Evans, just because he's the model of consistency. The dude's still in his prime. That might last 12 years. Who knows with this guy? But I mean, Pickens I think has the highest upside. But if you're asking me, I'm going Pickens just because for whatever reason I have an illogical hatred for Mike Evans, even though he's done a lot for me. But
Their third option.
give me Pickens. Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk. I think the struggle for me there is that I'm with you. Evans to me has a good matchup against Minnesota's porous pass defense in a game that they'll probably be losing. I think that's going to be a fairly high scoring game if the Bucks want to stay in that game. I could see Evans being kind of a security blanket for Baker Mayfield, even though I'm not a big Baker Mayfield fan. I think Pickens has the highest boom possibility with ceiling. I like Ayuk as a big game guy if he has the right game. It's just that both of them are playing each other. Pittsburgh against San Francisco both have pretty good secondaries and pretty good defenses. I think from a volume matchup perspective that those two could easily outperform Evans. One of them, I bet, has a bigger day than Evans. I think Evans is a safer floor.
Yeah, and another thing about Ayuk, he finally cracked the 1,000-yard receiving mark last year. He only had one game with over 100 yards. So take that for what you will. In a 17-game slate, he was just over 1,000 yards, so he's not giving you a ton anyways. And with Brock Purdy, we still don't know if what his passing volume is going to be like.
I agree. Too many mouths to feed in that offense too.
This can turn into a crown game or be just only run the ball.
I think it's hard when you have a receiver like Ayuk who's not a prototypical big possession guy like you would think a red zone target like you've seen in the past years with like when Randy Moss was with the Patriots, Calvin Johnson, like the big physical guys that are obviously Devontae Adams more recently, but like the guys that are just heavily targeted in the red zone. I think Ayuk's fantasy production last year, if you go back and look at it, a lot of it came from scoring touchdowns. And he just doesn't seem like that kind of guy, but it was one of those, I think it was he opened up and freed up because of who else they were trying to take out of the scoring picture, and he just happened to have the matchup down there in the red zone where he got a little bit lucky with touchdowns. I mean, I think Deontay Johnson had way more volume than Brandon Ayuk, but got outscored by him because he didn't score at all. So I can see that script flip this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. That receiving line is like 60 yards a game. So Ayuk is an okay flex, but touchdown dependent. I feel like Pickens or Evans would be more likely targets to secure a touchdown any week over Ayuk. I like Evans overall in this scenario.
All right.
Both
I need
QBs are
I need help.
below average accuracy QBs. So
Yeah.
that's the hard part.
Right. All right.
Uplift.
I just had somebody call in. Christian Kirk or George Pickens?
I'm going Pickens.
One's a wide receiver 29, projected for 10.5 on Yahoo. The other's wide receiver 33, projected for 8.5 on Yahoo. Kirk is ranked higher, projected for 2 points more.
I'm not surprised by that.
I like Pickens more.
Andy, I see your mouth moving, but I don't hear you.
I like Kirk more.
Okay. I mean, they got that better matchup, and
Way better matchup. Playing San Francisco is going to be hard. Pickett, not the most accurate thrower. Lawrence is. I would take Lawrence throwing to Christian Kirk.
I like it.
Races that you can make something spectacular out of nothing, or I think Pickens is great. If he had a better quarterback throwing to him, it'd be like lock it in. But
Who are you leaning towards, Frank?
Yeah, I think due to the matchup and wanting to wait a week to see what the Steelers offense does, especially against a bad or a good team, a good defense at least, I'm gonna go with Kirk.
The fantasy pros agree with that.
Yeah, what do they give it?
71% for
Okay.
Christian Kirk.
Okay.
relating to the Steelers, I have a feeling that this will be the first year that the Steelers have a losing record. I just don't know that the Steelers can put together a winning record in that division.
I could easily see them being an 8-9 team, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were a 9-8 team, like somewhere hovering around that 500 mark. They just seem like they always find a way to win. Tomlin's a good coach. He always has his team ready. Their defense should still be pretty good. They've got offensive weapons. I mean, it really honestly just comes down to how well Pickett plays. If he takes that next step forward, I could see them winning the division. If he does not, I could see them being third or fourth in the division.
Division, probably the most talented in the league. Just spread out across 4 teams. I think you guys, those Bengals are number 1 in that division.
I mean, I like the Bengals a lot in that division this year, but
Browns.
I don't know. I could see Baltimore having a bad season.
Browns,
I don't think
feel like
Baltimore's defense is going to be what it's been in the past. I could see. I think the bigger question, like when everybody's like what you said was, I need to see what the Steelers are. I need to see what the Browns are. Like that team seems to have so much talent and can never put it together.
right? And if Deshaun Watson plays like Deshaun Watson of old, really the second best QB in that division. And I think Lamar Jackson, for not being that good, is can make up for it on the ground. And I think it's a battle for third between the Ravens and the Steelers if Deshaun Watson bounces back. But I feel like this could be the year where Steelers don't get that winning record.
Yeah, going to be a lot of question marks. I think it'll be interesting to see how some of these divisions shake out. I mean, I think there's some that it's kind of obvious who you would think is going to win the division, and then there's some where there's huge question marks on which team's going to be the team. I mean, I think along with that AFC division, the AFC East with those 4 teams, I think it's going to be interesting to see how the NFC North shapes up.
A lot of changes in the NFL this year. Steelers are kind of blessed with their schedule. They get to play.
They have an easy schedule.
They get to play the Raiders, Texans, Rams, Titans, Packers, Cardinals, Patriots, Colts.
They could win all
All
of
those games,
or
right?
win all but one of those. I mean,
Sure, they won't, but yeah, all those are all winnable games. Eight out of their 17. We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's get a couple
see
more
tomorrow.
start sit decisions. A good one. How about Rashad White or Drake London?
Who was the first one?
Rashad White.
Rashad White.
Yeah.
Who does Atlanta play? Okay. I am going to lean towards Rashad White.
That is Carolina at home. Rashad White plays Minnesota away.
Yeah, Minnesota's defense is bad. Rashad White is the guy there, and he is a catching back. So even if game flow goes against him, he still has the ability to get some volume there. So I like him. I think that Atlanta's going to try to make it the Bijan Robinson show. I want to kind of see how that sets up this year with the receiving options, with Pitts involved and London involved. I could see it being one of those that Carolina's defense was kind of underrated last year. So I could see them kind of taking away a Pitts or a London type thing and make it a put the ball in Bijan's hands and see what happens.
Paul or AJ Dillon?
Wait, Drake London is my answer. Anyways, go ahead.
Why do you like Drake London?
I like Drake London because I don't like Rashad White. I mean, the guy couldn't average 4 yards a carry when he had Tom Brady back there. No one's afraid of this pass game anymore. They're going to stack the box. And, I mean, that's going to be the end of it.
But do you feel like teams are going to stack the box necessarily against Rashad White versus when it was Leonard Fournette?
You don't have to. You don't have to. That's what I'm saying. They're not going to stack the box.
Didn't stack the box. They still
Even when they didn't stack the box, he still can't get 4 yards a carry with the GOAT, which I don't think he's a GOAT either. But anywho, yeah, I'm going Drake London. Year two guy, year 2 quarterback. Give it to me.
I'm not down and out on the Falcons. I think the Falcons can be good. If not good, average, but
Definitely average.
yeah.
We're just hoping they beat the Panthers. We want that pick to be good.
I mean that division is just dog shit. So I can't imagine like maybe the Saints are the favored one to win that division. But
You think they have to be.
I don't think Atlanta's terrible. Sorry, Brees Hall or AJ Dillon?
I'm going
Give me
Brees
Dillon.
Hall.
Man, so many bad decisions by Jordan today.
Two just being on the opposite pages.
I'm gonna win all these tomorrow when we see what their final numbers
All
are.
right, I'm gonna write these all down. I don't know if we
Yep,
did
please,
this or not.
please do.
I think
Sell me on Brees Hall, Jordan.
I just don't like. I don't like the alternative. That's really it. I don't like Dillon. I think the game flow is going to be an Aaron Jones type game where going to be a lot of check downs. They're going to have to use Aaron Jones in the passing game with Dobbs and Christian Watson both being out. I just think the Bears have always done a pretty good job against backs that run like AJ Dillon. I just
Even
think
with that defensive line, I wouldn't even trust a high school team against.
Yeah, I think Aaron Jones is going to shred them. I think it's going to
Yeah.
be the Aaron Jones show if the Packers have any kind of offense. I see Dillon maybe like 12 carries for 48 yards or something like that, but I don't see him scoring. I don't see him catching a whole lot of passes. I think Jones is going to probably be like a 7 or 8 catch day tomorrow. I don't know.
Brees Hall is playing Buffalo, one of the better defenses in the league.
Yep. And Brees Hall is a flashier player than AJ Dillon.
Is still listed as questionable.
I think they find a way to get Brees Hall involved in that game, and he's got a bigger home run threat.
You're not worried about Hall's workload?
I'm worried about both their workloads. I just think the better player is Brees Hall. He's more versatile. He's just a better flashy overall player. I think he's got bigger home run threat. And for guys that are splitting the backfield, like Dillon's going to have to split with Jones, and Jones is the flashier big play guy, and that's why he's the lead back there. I think the same thing goes for Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook. I mean, we'll see. Dalvin Cook might get used a lot in week 1 just to see what he's got, or he won't know the playbook quite yet, and they'll go with Brees Hall because he does. I think they'll have very similar workloads. I just think Brees Hall does more with it.
Okay.
You write all ours down?
I wrote down the last 2. I don't remember the rest.
I had George Pickens over Christian Kirk.
Okay.
You had London.
Keep track of all these.
You had London over.
I got Rachaad White in London.
I
figured I'd listen to it later and I'll get it all.
I put Rachaad White over it.
Those 3. So whoever wins 2 out of 3, at least, will declare the winner. I'm gonna call it a day.
Sure.
You don't got another good one for us, Andy?
A good one out there. Would you start Gabe Davis or Jahan Dotson?
Dotson.
I agree with Frank on that one.
Why do we like Dotson?
Because he's good.
Good. He's got talent.
I'm not sold on the quarterback, but I like the talent. I think talent will win on this one. Yeah, the other guy, I don't even remember who you said. Dotson.
Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis.
I think he's a flashy guy.
Gabe Davis is the
I think
talent.
he relies on the big play.
Yep. Gabe Davis can he catch the ball though? That's my question. Yeah, I'm leaning Jahan Dotson too. I think
I go with Frank on that one finally.
When the ball comes to Jahan Dotson, I think he hauls it in. So, is Scary Terry's scheduled to play this week?
I think he's suiting up, isn't he?
He had like a turf toe injury for Scary Terry.
He's not on the injury report. Cleared for Sunday. He's ready to roll.
I always like it better when there's 2 wide receivers to target because I feel like the defense can't lean one way or the other too much.
And Dotson's probably number 2 in that, or from the
well,
wide
and
receivers.
Dotson seems to be a red zone target there, and I get that they have a different quarterback in, but if they scheme it the same way, he could still be a red zone. He's a little bit more physical type player, decent size versus Gabe Davis, who, like you said, is just a home run deep threat. I think a lot of people would argue that Gabe Davis might be the guy you start this week just because everybody thinks that Stephon Diggs is going to be the one that gets shut down when he's got to go against the star corner from the New York Jets. But Davis only had 5 total catches for, I think, like 58 or 60 yards last season in 2 games against the Jets. So I don't think that matchup is any better for him either. So
Dotson all the way.
Jahan Dotson, me and Frank can agree finally.
Lock it in. All right. Well, hopefully, anybody who's listening to this podcast before setting your rosters tomorrow can get some insight from our start sit for week 1. Thank you for listening to Touchdown Nerdcast. Frank, you got the outro queued up.
I don't have an outro. I just have the intro. You want to hear it again?
Let's have Jordan do the outro.
Jordan, give us the sound clip.
I don't have an outro clip, but I can make one.
Here, I got a different intro for you. You ready?
I'm ready. It's going to be our outro.
Oh, wait. Here it comes.
So you can do all the talking.
Okay. Okay, where's our good one? Oh, here it is.
Back to Touchdown Nerdcast. We have Jordan, Frank, and Andrew. Yeah.
All right, that's it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Frank.
Love it.
We'll catch up with you guys next week after week 1 is over.
Yep.
Bears.
I'll see
Good
you.
luck tomorrow, everybody.
Best of luck.
Good thing I don't play any of you.
Yep, and
Peace.
F everybody else.
P.S. You're awesome.